All right, we're practicing using this flow chart for strategies and finding limits. So this is a very good tool if you kind of struggle with this limit section. All right, so Jill's teacher gave her a flow chart and asked her to find the limit as x goes to 5 of the function. All right, and then the way the flow chart works is that the first thing you always do is you would do direct substitution. You're plugging it in, then three things can happen. We can either have 0 on the bottom, we can have a value that pops out, or 0 on both top and bottom, which is, remind yourselves, that's called indeterminate form. In as a prefix means not determined or determine. You cannot find it, so, or find it. Determine is to find it. So indeterminate, cannot find it yet. So the next step is it in a way that we can factor it? Do we see conjugates kind of be useful there? Usually it's square roots that make conjugates, or do we have trigonometry? Okay, then we would try evaluating the limit given if we can cancel out the issue. And then we use approximation if none of those work. Approximation is the long way, especially when we have to do tables. We'd plug in values, getting closer and closer, and see what happens. Graph, not too bad, using Desmos.com. Okay, so what would we do here? The first thing we would do is we'd have to plug in the value. So they actually want us to plug in the value here. We're going to 5. So that would be 5 squared minus 25 over 5 squared minus 10 times 5 plus 25. All right, and I can already see this is like a difference of squares and looks like a trinomial, which is like a binomial squared, it looks like. All right, but let's go ahead and just finish it off. So we got 25 on 25 minus 25. So this is equal to 0 on top. 25 plus 25 is 50. Minus 50 is 0 on the bottom. So we got 0 over 0. All right, so that means, and I kind of recommend just writing it down as you go through it. So now we're at 0 over 0, indeterminate form. Then what would we do? Then we would try to factor it. All right, so let's go ahead and factor it. That would be x minus 5 times x plus 5 on the top, difference of perfect squares. On the bottom, what two numbers multiply to be positive 25, add to be negative 10. X minus 5 times x minus 5. All right, and we got the x minus 5s that cancel. Our issue is now canceled out. Plugging in 5. Okay. So we still have the issue down here when we plug in 5. So we factored, and now we have the 0 on the bottom. So it looks like it's asymptotic there. That would be 10 over 0. So now we go into this one. All right. So then that kind of gives us our answer. It's probably an asymptote. All right. So first thing we did was direct substitution. Okay. Then we got an indeterminate form. Okay. Then we factored. Then once we factored, we direct substitution again. So what I did. And then I got an asymptote. Okay. So this was the order that I did mine in. Let's see how they liked it. I've done these in the past, and many times we need to get used to what their structure is. So don't feel bad if you don't get it right. We're just getting used to using this table and making sure that we do what we need to do to get to the answer. Let's see. Okay, so everything was fine there. Next one, natural log. Let's see, if I plug in 1, 0 on the bottom, natural log of 1. If you're not sure, let's just see. Natural log of 1 ln of 1, just checking on my calculator, I got 0. So this is 0 on top, 0 on bottom. Now, natural log, there's nothing we could do to factor that, and this is x plus 1 times x minus 1. So this looks like, my guess would be, first I do direct substitution, right? Then I got indeterminate form. Conjugate's not going to help. Factoring is not going to help here. It's not a trig identity, so bam, I would have to go to approximation. I'd have to start using graphs and tables to see what happens here. All right, and then notice there's nothing else we can really do there. All we can do is approximate from what we see. So that would be my guess. Okay, so the rest of them look like they're pretty much the same, just following through the table. And like I said, don't get too upset if you kind of get some wrong answers. Learn from what their solution is, and then use that to kind of better focus on what you need to do in the future.